What's happening, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to a brand new episode of Caffeinate. Today, for March the 6th of 2019, my name is Samuel Adams, and welcome to today's show. I hope that this one does find you well, and of course, for those that are brand new to the podcast, this is a daily gaming news show where I bring you the hottest gaming news from around the industry while I touch up the color on this video because, hey, we've all got to work multiple jobs to keep this establishment up and running. But of course, the show is hosted 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, over on twitch.tv/TheSamuelAdams if you did want to catch it live. But of course, it's always ripped down and then put back up on YouTube and podcast services around the world to keep you guys informed on the ins and outs of the gaming industry. And today, we got the confirmation that next week is going to be big for fans of Halo because we very well could be seeing the Master Chief Collection finally come to PC, which is our headline story of the day. Of course, that could be a multitude of various Halo-related announcements, but hopefully we'll be seeing the game come to PC. On top of that, we have the confirmation that Halo Infinite is not going to be skipping the Xbox One. A slight aside to today's news, but still something that is worth mentioning. Stranding, the famous Hideo Kojima game that has yet to come out but has the world absolutely enthralled and also slightly baffled, is slightly behind on its development schedule. H1Z1, a classic Battle Royale game that has had its ups and has had its downs, has a brand new name, but along with some old mechanics. We'll talk about what that means for Daybreak going forward, as well as H1Z1, Z1 Battle Royale, as it continues to do something, flounder around out there trying to find an audience. Apex Legends, speaking of the true victor here, is apparently going to be getting a battle pass next week, according to the guys at Game Rant. Something that is largely predictable, but with a couple of details now thrown in. Tetris 99 has a brand new tournament going on right now that very well could give you and 998 other people $10 in Nintendo eShop credit. March's free Nintendo Entertainment System games for Nintendo Switch Online have been revealed, and that will wrap out today's show. But it's going to be a very packed show, so I do hope you enjoy what we have here today. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into something I didn't mention, but something that is without a doubt worth mentioning and truly the biggest news story here of the day. Alex Trebek has announced that he has pancreatic cancer, and I want to start off the show by talking about this because of how important Alex Trebek is for what I have been doing with my life. Because growing up, I spent a lot of time not only with my parents, but also with my grandmother, and we all know old people in Jeopardy, and so growing up, I used to watch a lot of Alex Trebek because I would watch Jeopardy reruns in the afternoons, and so he is without a doubt one of the big influences on how I present things, on how I am as a person, and I think that applies to a ton of other people. But essentially, to give you guys a quick rundown, he is not leaving Jeopardy. He is not going to be retiring anytime soon. He has stage 4 pancreatic cancer, but he continues to fight it. He continues to be positive, and he needs all of our good vibes because, according to Alex Trebek, he signed an agreement to host Jeopardy until the year 2022. So he's got 3 years left, and he cannot give that up. But without a doubt, in all seriousness, you know, I wish the best to Alex Trebek and his family in this time, which is, of course, incredibly trying, incredibly difficult to announce, especially being in the public eye like this. You know, being able to handle this kind of thing behind closed doors is one situation, but to be such a national figure is something that is definitely going to be changing the overall setup of this stage of life. But without a doubt, best of luck, and of course, anything is possible. Of course, you never know, but anything is possible without a doubt. So, moving on to the actual news of the day, the gaming-related news. Halo the Master Chief Collection news has been teased for Inside Xbox, and you can pull out your bingo cards because who knows what is actually going to be coming. With rumors swirling about Halo the Master Chief Collection releasing on PC, it's hard not to wonder what Microsoft has lined up for next week's Inside Xbox. The new episode will begin at 2 p.m. Pacific time on Tuesday, March the 12th, with news and interviews, and hopefully a snappier pace than recent presentations. You can, of course, catch it live on YouTube, Twitch, and Mixer, or you can just follow the coverage over there at Destructoid. For its part, Microsoft is promising to bring updates on Halo the Master Chief Collection, DayZ, One Piece World Seeker, and Game Pass, among others. Whether the PC port news shows up in this episode of Inside Xbox or at a later date, either way, it surely feels inevitable. It is such a long time coming. Again, Halo the Master Chief Collection actually launched back in November of 2014. To put that into perspective for you, this November will mark 5 years since the Master Chief Collection was officially put out. However, beyond that one specific piece of speculation, there is a lot of other talk going around. Multiple double-take-worthy Nintendo rumors have surfaced in recent weeks, and now we're hearing more details about a discless, digital-only Xbox One S that might release later this spring, as we talked about on yesterday's episode of Caffeinate. Strange days, but exciting days nonetheless. The author here says he feels like Microsoft still has considerable room to grow with Inside Xbox, and the format hasn't quite found its footing, but of course, we do have a lot of announcements lined up for the rest of the spring. So if you did want to check it out, again, it's going to be next Tuesday, March the 12th, and we could be seeing the game finally come to PC. So what exactly would this mean? What is the significance of having the Master Chief Collection on PC? Essentially, it brings a lot of classic Halo games, in fact, you know, most of them, to the PC when they have not traditionally been there in a very, very long time. So that would, of course, be a very welcome sight for me, somebody who is a huge fan of Halo, because it's just the classic shooter. But I know a lot of other people would love to have a classic Halo experience on PC, especially, and let me emphasize this, especially if the multiplayer is handled well. That is a very exciting concept for me, and one that I would love to see more of, hopefully next Tuesday at the Inside Xbox event. But without a doubt, I'll definitely be tuning in. Not going to be co-hosting it live or anything like that, but next Tuesday, keep it tuned in right here to Caffeinate, because you never know what we could be talking about. Very well could be playing the Master Chief Collection and blowing off this podcast entirely. Wouldn't that be something? However, let's move on to some more Halo discussion. Halo Infinite will not skip the Xbox One, confirms O'Connor. Let's talk about this. Halo franchise development director Frank O'Connor has once again reiterated that Halo Infinite is a PC and Xbox One game. With talk about the next generation of consoles heating up and the absence of a solid release date for Halo Infinite, rumors are going around that the game won't even make it out on current hardware. Microsoft has always said that Halo Infinite is coming to PC and Xbox One, but I suppose it doesn't hurt to ask again, which one fan did on Twitter, leading Frank O'Connor to confirm that yes, indeed, Halo Infinite will be available on PC as well as Xbox One, saying, and I quote directly, "I have no idea what leak you're talking about," in reply to the other guy, but Halo Infinite will be released on Xbox One and appropriately spec'd PCs. Of course, that does not preclude a simultaneous release on another unannounced platform, potentially the next Xbox. Assuming Halo Infinite does not release this year, which is likely, that would mean it's probably a 2020 game. With most reports pointing to a late 2020 start for the next generation consoles, it is a fair bet that Halo Infinite will be a cross-generation game. This, of course, is all speculation, but don't expect Microsoft to talk hard details until we are closer to launch. You can't announce a game for a console that doesn't exist yet, obviously. So we'll talk more about Halo as time goes on, more than likely around E3. But this is something that I think is a very interesting concept, especially when you think about how Microsoft is handling online connectivity and online multiplayer, because you do have cross-platform play, and so if you do have Nintendo Switches playing with Xbox Ones and PlayStation 4s playing with Xbox Ones, why couldn't the last generation of consoles play simultaneously with those on the next generation of Xbox consoles in regards to the newest Halo that could be coming out on both? That simply makes sense to keep that unified player base, and that's a scenario that we have never seen before. If you think about stuff like a game that has been ported from the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One, you can't really play together with other people in that kind of regard. Now, of course, backwards compatibility, another different argument entirely, but to have literally both pools of people playing with each other and being able to literally unify the player base regardless of whether you are an early adopter of the next generation of hardware or not, sounds like a fantastic idea, and without a doubt is one that I would love to see for the next Halo. But very exciting times. Of course, this is one of the best times to be somebody that not only is interested in gaming, but also covers gaming news, because there is so much speculation, there's so much buildup and excitement about what the next piece of hardware very well could include. It's just an incredibly exhilarating time to be a member of the gaming industry, in even my regard, or my level, where somebody just sits and talks about video games on a nightly basis. Just really exciting stuff, and I cannot wait to dive into the news coming out of E3 this year, because I am very well anticipating a big reveal for the next Xbox console. But hey, we'll see what happens. Still very excited to definitely follow up on that. Now let's talk about a game that is, of course, one of the most anticipated games in recent memory. Death Stranding is slightly behind schedule according to Hideo Kojima. Death Stranding director Hideo Kojima has shared a bit of an update on the game's development. In an interview with J-Wave, Japanese, of course, the legendary creator revealed the Death Stranding story and design are complete at this stage. Unfortunately, the game is currently lagging slightly behind an internal release target. Death Stranding obviously does not yet have a public release date, so we have no idea what this delay actually means as far as the eventual release date goes. Kojima isn't too worried about it though, as he says this is natural for a game of this size. According to the Google Translated interview, Kojima is currently playing Death Stranding and giving direction and feedback about its various aspects as the team works on polishing the experience. Kojima Productions recently registered 2 trademarks in Japan for a Strand game and a social Strand system, which we can only assume are related in some way to Death Stranding. The game is believed to have a social form of multiplayer, but details are very slim, and of course, you can always find more info via the actual interview itself, thanks to Reset Era. So this is a very interesting piece of news because it shines a light on the importance of maintaining confidentiality in terms of release dates. Because let's say that back whenever the game was first revealed a few years back, you did have a release date set of, I would say, maybe June 2019. Just hypothetically, bear with me. If that was the release date, this would have resulted in a delay, which would have been disappointing for people. Now, since we have no release date, no definitive release time frame even, then we have nothing to worry about here because this kind of delay is quite frankly expected. Is it going to be coming out on the next generation of hardware? More than likely, but hey, we all can wait because we don't even know when this game is actually going to be coming out. With that being said, the game itself, of what I've seen, is number one, confusing. I have absolutely no idea what's happening in Death Stranding, but also a very beautiful game. Of course, I'm talking about stuff that is shown off of these giant conferences, pre-rendered stuff, etc., etc. But even the sight of the man wandering around like an Amazon delivery boy in the middle of a wilderness looks gorgeous without a doubt. One that's very exciting, one that's very interesting, and one that I will definitely be having my eye on over the next few years. But we'll see when this one actually does launch. I'm betting 2020, but that's just me. We'll see what happens with that. So let's talk about some battle royales. We've got 2 stories back to back about one battle royale that's doing very well and one that is not. I'll let you guess which one we're going to be talking about first. H1Z1 has a brand new name and old mechanics. Can Z1 Battle Royale compete with Fortnite and Apex Legends in 2019? H1Z1 got somewhat left behind as rival Battle Royale games like Fortnite, Apex Legends, and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds exploded in popularity over the last year or so. Its player numbers dwindled, and the H1Z1 Pro League didn't even finish its first season due to lack of interest. Back in September, a different development team took over as Daybreak Game Company revealed the title would be renamed Z1 Battle Royale. The rebranding is now official as of today, as a wealth of updates arrive in a major patch. Now, this update seeks to bring back the game that so many of you fell in love with in the classic King of the Kill era, said Z1BR General Manager Anthony Castoro. The NantG development team has overhauled the user interface with an updated menu system and kill feed, among other tweaks. In an attempt to bring the game back to its roots and restore an arcade feel, the developers reverted to classic versions of some mechanics. They updated movement and animations, textures and lighting, weapon mechanics, loot distribution, and vehicles. There is now a mission system that provides optional tasks for you to complete during a game, such as those that we see in Fortnite. I was watching a bit earlier, where you need to get 5 kills with an AK or something along those lines. If you are successful with this mission, you'll earn credits, crates, or fragments, which you can also collect in-game from Dead Rivals loot bags in exchange for credits or a crate. The first competitive season since November is also kicking off. That's a bold move. NantG has made changes to the scoring system for standard and ranked pro play, with more emphasis on kills than higher match placements in the latter. Rebranding the game with a battle royale in the title isn't a bad idea, as it may help snag some newcomers who literally searched for the term on Steam or the PlayStation Store. Trying to restore aspects of the game to how they were in the early days could bring back some lapsed players too. More updates are on the way, including to weapon models and the UI, as NantG tries to pull Z1BR back into the public consciousness. And so, we have the return of H1Z1 in the form of Z1 Battle Royale. Very interesting and bold move nonetheless, to see that this kind of thing is actually going to be attempted. Now, for those that don't know, to kind of back up and throw it in reverse for a minute, H1Z1 is a game that sort of kind of laid the foundation for the BR craze that we see today, because it's just one of those games where so many people were playing it back whenever the game was at its peak. It was one of the #1 games on Twitch for a very, very long period of time, and then PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds began to rise to the top. And then, of course, it's all history with PUBG succumbing to Fortnite in a way, and then Fortnite beginning to succumb to Apex Legends. So essentially, H1Z1 played its part, and now the team is trying to bring it back to its roots. Now, will it actually be successful in this? That's the big question, because during my time that I was spending in a stream, I heard that it was peaking at about 12,000 players on launch day, which is not necessarily bad, but it definitely isn't necessarily good either. I feel like a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people including myself, are very tired of hearing about H1Z1. And that's not a good look to have. Now, of course, there was an attempt for a rebrand with Z1 Battle Royale, but even that, whenever you really break it down, still sounds too familiar and is too affiliated with H1Z1, which is a game that has been riddled with negative press. It has been riddled with many, many bugs, cheaters, etc. over the past few years. And of course, the H1Z1 Pro League not even finishing its first season wasn't exactly a good look either. That's another good transition into the other thing that I want to talk about. They went ahead and revealed that there would be a comeback for the competitive league on the same day that the game relaunched and rebranded as Z1 Battle Royale. That is probably not that good of a move. A game needs to have a competitive league whenever there is interest in the game and players become good enough at the game to warrant a competitive league. That's pretty much the way that things work. However, if you go ahead and establish a competitive league at the beginning of the game, I just don't know where they're trying to go with this, because you aren't really going to have a viewer base, in my humble opinion, as somebody who views these events. But I digress. You very well could be seeing the return of H1Z1 to the top after checking out some gameplay. Again, as compared to stuff like Apex Legends and Fortnite, which of course are at the pinnacle today, it's just not cutting it. It's just not where it needs to be in order to maintain that classic player base and really that classic fame that it had a couple of years ago. Will people come back to it? More than likely. Of course, there are many people that are nostalgic for this specific game and this specific early on gameplay that you got from the early versions of H1Z1, but is that enough to keep it alive for an extended period of time? More than likely not. I just don't know about that one. But I digress. We will see how it goes over the next few months. Now, quick aside to Decky for subscribing for 2 months in a row in the chat. Welcome, my friend, and I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much for being here. But let's continue our discussions of Battle Royale, because Apex Legends apparently is going to be getting its Battle Pass next week, specifically on Tuesday, March the 12th, if this very reliable source is to be believed from Game Rant. Not long after Apex Legends launched and became a worldwide success, Respawn started testing fans, and teasing fans even, about how it would be supporting the game in future updates. The first major update for Apex Legends is expected to come this month as part of its first season of content, and it will be headlined by a Fortnite-style Battle Pass. Unfortunately, Respawn has kept quiet about what the Battle Pass will entail or when it will even be available, but now a source, quote, close to the situation has leaked its release date to Daily Esports. According to the anonymous source, the Battle Pass for Apex Legends will be available on March the 12th. Apparently, Apex Legends players won't be able to purchase the Battle Pass with in-game currency, but rather it will need to be purchased directly from the shop itself. This will be a departure from the way Fortnite handles its Battle Pass, which players can purchase using V-Bucks, meaning they potentially only ever have to pay for it a single time. The source also revealed that the leaked online character Octane will be released alongside Battle Pass. Whether or not Octane will be included with the Battle Pass is unclear, but it seems unlikely considering how players had to unlock Caustic and Mirage in the game, the two existing non-included with the base version of the game Legends in Apex Legends. Before fans start marking their calendars, though, we must stress, they say at Game Rant, that this information should be taken with a grain of salt. We aren't able to verify the source, and it's possible that they are leaking false information to Daily Esports' website. However, since we know that the Battle Pass and first season are both coming this month, March the 12th is as good a day as any to expect some kind of news. So we will see next week, very soon in the grand scheme of things, if this is in fact the case, but it could be a pretty good fit. March the 12th is a pretty solid solid day. Number one, day after my birthday. Nice. And number two, it is a Tuesday, so it makes sense for a big game to get a pretty big update on a Tuesday. And I mean, hey, we need some new fresh content for Apex Legends, and that's really what I want to drive home here with this specific story, is that I've stopped playing Apex Legends, number one, because cheaters have become rampant, and I don't want to deal with that. Number two, because the gameplay and the legends and whatnot have all gotten kind of stale. It's the same thing over and over again, and when you put upwards of around 60 hours into it over the course of a week and a half, 2 weeks, I began to get tired of that, whatever the correct pronunciation may be, and I went ahead and kind of meandered on over to Far Cry 5, and I've been playing a good bit of that, which has been incredibly satisfying. I might even go back and play some Far Cry 4. But, again, very exciting stuff. Again, Season 1 coming to Apex Legends very, very soon, if you did want to check out next Tuesday, because you very well could be seeing the release of that Battle Pass. Pricing, who knows, probably around $10, but hey, the new legend looks really, really cool. Of course, that is Octane. We've talked about him on a couple of episodes of Caffeinate as well, if you wanted to go back and check those out. But let's back up and say that, hey, I'm not into Apex Legends, I'm not into H1Z1, I'm not into Fortnite, but what I am into is Tetris, and I am good at Tetris 99, and hey, I want to make some big bucks. In fact, $10. I have this story for you. Tetris 99's weekend event gives top 999 winners $10 in Eshop credit over there on the Nintendo Switch. When Tetris 99 was announced in a Nintendo Direct, Nintendo said there would be upcoming events to get players together, but it didn't reveal any details about what those might be. Today, we got details of the first event, which ranks the top 999 players during a specific time frame and earns rewards for doing so. Beginning on March the 8th, 2 days from now, players will simply play Tetris 99 as normal and try to rack up as many wins as possible in what is called the Maximus Cup. You have through March the 10th to get those wins and be one of the top players, and you'll be given 999 Nintendo coins, which is basically $10 in eShop credit. Only first place finishes count, so being top 3 is not good enough to get credit. Do you have what it takes to be one of the best Tetris 99 players in the world? I know that I probably don't, because I don't have a Nintendo Switch to play this, but without a doubt, something that would be very, very fun to participate in. For those that don't know what Tetris 99 is, it is a fantastic iteration of Tetris on its surface level, but on top of that, you literally are playing Tetris against 100 people, or 99 other people if you really want to break it down. And so that's just a very fun, unique concept that really does kind of hit me where it counts, because number one, I love Battle Royale games. They're very fun. They changed up multiplayer in a spot where I needed something fresh, something new, and that's why I'm still in love with it today. But on top of that, I grew up with Tetris. I love Tetris. If I was literally stranded on an island for weeks, maybe even years at a time, Tetris is the game that I would have. Specifically Tetris for my Game Boy Color, because that thing never runs out of battery. Game Boy Advance SP. Let me reiterate here, or rephrase. However, my preference for Game Boy to the side. If you did want to dive onto the Nintendo Switch and check it out, by all means, it is a free-to-play game, and you could win $10 in Nintendo eShop credit, or you could just dive in and have a good time with some Tetris. That's what I would do. However, very good game. I would say, actually, shockingly enough, the Battle Royale Tetris game has gotten a better reception and arguably a bigger following on social media than Anthem. Again, statistics probably prove that wrong, but from my perspective, that's kind of what we're getting at today. But let's say you're not into that, but you still have Nintendo Switch Online. Congratulations, my friend. You, yes you, have some free Nintendo Entertainment System games coming your way, which are relatively fine. I don't really have an opinion on these. Nintendo has announced the free NES games being added to the library of freebies on Nintendo Switch for people who subscribe to the system's Nintendo Switch Online membership. Available starting March the 13th, next Wednesday, will be 2 titles, Kid Icarus and Star Tropics. Members in Japan are getting a different lineup of games. According to Gameatsu, players in Japan will get Kid Icarus, but instead of Star Tropics, they'll receive Yai R Kung Fu and Fire Emblem. It is not uncommon for the NES Switch Online freebies to vary by region like this. And so, if you did want to dive in, the NES library for Nintendo Switch Online subscribers launched in 2018 with 20 big-name games, and of course, it is only $4 a month or $8 for 3 months, and it's worth giving a shot if you do have a Nintendo Switch, because hey, you get a lot of freebies, you can play with your games online, etc., etc., you know the drill. The best way that I can describe Nintendo Switch Online is that it's basically PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live Gold, but light. Like, you get some free games here and there. Are they great? Sometimes, but not often. Can you play with your friends online? Yes. Can you communicate with them natively on the device? No. Still a work in progress on that one. But I digress. You know, it's a good deal for $4 a month. You can't really complain. A 12-month membership is available for $20 right now. I mean, come on. $20. You get free games. You get Tetris 99. What else do you need other than that? Literally, you could buy a Nintendo Switch and just have Tetris 99, and it's worth it right then and there. But I digress. If you want to dive in and check out Kid Icarus or Star Tropics if you're in the States, or Kid Icarus and Yi Are Kung Fu, don't know what that is, and Fire Emblem in Japan, you very well could do that starting next Wednesday. Again, they're free if you have NES Online, so why not, you know? Free stuff. Don't leave it sitting there. But that wraps up this day's episode of Caffeinate. If you did enjoy this one and you're watching on YouTube, be sure to drop me a like down below and let me know what you think about the show. Let me know what you think about the news. I would love to read your comments. And of course, for those hanging out live in the chat over on Twitch, I appreciate you being here and I hope you have a fantastic rest of the night. But again, to reiterate, the show is hosted 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on twitch.tv/TheSamuelAdams, and the show goes up live on the other platforms shortly after that. But until tomorrow, you guys have a fantastic rest of the day. I will talk to you soon, and peace.